Looks like you're ready to serve.
Untuk negara saya sanggup buat apa saja, Tuan.
Where is Captain Mike Iota?
He was hurt and we need the Kanang would go back to retrieve him.
You gone mad? Leave your platoon head behind?
Biar 1000 peluru singgah di badan saya, Tuan. Jangan sebutir peluru bor di kepala Tuan.
Are you refusing? It's an order!
Kita adalah untuk memusnahkan musuh dan membunuh mereka.
Hi ma'am, my name is Finderban, my metric number is 2210712. Here I want to talk about the synopsis of Kanang, Anak, Langkau, the movies. First, the story of Kanang is an Iban, which is known as an ethnic warrior who live in the interior of Sarawak, which is located on island of Borneo. Like the Iban believe that their children were raised to be a warrior. So, Kanang was taught by his grandfather about the interstices of the jungle. So, Kanang became a great hunter and jungle tracker. So, in that day, he could read the wind, hear the breath of tiger and other animals, and hear the heartbeat of trees. That's the unique about Kanang. So, in the year 1965 was the culmination of communist uprising in Malaysia, and Sarawak was also exposed to the threat of communist atrocities. And the British Army had learned of Kanang expertise and provenance about the jungle and tried to attract him to serve and help fight communist militant. Furthermore, Kanang's career in the army began when he joined the Sarawak Ranger Regiment as an Iban tracker until he became a sergeant major in the 8th of Regiment in the Malaysia Armed Forces. And Kanang and his platoon in the story were fought hard to eliminate the communist militant who became increasingly violent throughout the country from 1948 to 1983. Lastly, I want to talk in the synopsis is Kanang and his platoon fiercely fighting between communist terrorists and security forces lasted as far as Hutan Korbu and Tanah Hitam in Perak. During this battle, which in Tanah Hitam, Kanang was shot until he was seriously injured, but that cannot stop him from to fight valiantly until he managed to defeat the communist terrorists. That's all, man. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi ma'am and my fellow friends. I, Nurisa Syafiqna Muhammad Fuzi, metric number 2210681, want to discuss about the problem that arises out of this movie. The issue is that Kanang's supervisor ordered him to be on guard the night after he returned from an operation, despite the fact that Kanang had not slept since yesterday. Kanang had struck his supervisor for being inconsiderate, and he spent one night in jail as a result. I see this as a problem because the wise in charges will not take their men for granted and still care about their men's well-being. Next, I will talk about the solution taken in this movie. Captain Mike arrived to meet his scout after learning that Kanang was being imprisoned and reminded him that without Kanang, he would not have survived that day. His scout comprehended what had happened and promptly released Kanang, despite the fact that he was still upset that Kanang had punched him in the face.
Okay, ma'am, let me continue about the sword, which is strength. The first strength is Kanang was very expert combat until he can help his battalion from communists. And the second strength is he know about the traditional medicine because he had helped Captain Mike from seriously injured. And the third strength is he also a leader with humanity attribute because he has ordered his unit to stop fire during the battle because he saw a kid running toward them. And lastly, in that story, there was a kind-hearted society. That is because there's a vendor who helped Kanang wife to hide when the terrorists try to find them.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Imran Tishan bin Muhammad Zailani. My method number is 2210719. I'm here to talk about the winners of Kanang Anak Langkau movie, which is Kanang became enraged after returning from a tiring assault operation due to the careless character of Kanang's scout. Despite the fact that Kanang had not slept since yesterday, his scout told him to be on guard. After Kanang was shot, his unit was on the verge of surrendering to the communists. Despite this, Kanang continued to fight and had made his battalion aware that the fight must go on even in the face of death.
For the first opportunity, even if there is no war in Malaysia, we must cultivate a spirit of fight within ourselves in order to sustain national security. Then, I believe that by seeing this film, we will receive new insight into military strategies for tracking down enemies without the use of modern equipments. For threats, in other hands, even though they were aware that they were sacrificing their lives for the sake of the country, they were not afraid to do so. Lastly, even though it may be the final time they see their loved ones, they continue to fight until the end.
Hello ma'am, my name is Muhammad Jiri bin Jari, my metric number 2210716. Hello, I want to present about PMI. What will happen if British were not involved in formation of army in Malaya? For the past, soldiers in Malaya were able to establish force without being influenced by Western culture, and they were able to uphold existing tradition and teaching. For the miners, the building of the national defense line will be slow due to a lack of experienced people and suitable battle equipment. For the interest, Malaya was able to build its own army with enough commander and equipment to confront the enemy thanks to the British presence. Solution, for example, is a practice in the military that has been brought from Western society. Today, I want to present about the leadership strategy of Kanang Anak Langkau. For the first point, the leadership strategy that can be seen in the film is Kanang prowess in forest science. He has extensive knowledge of the forest and is therefore able to detect enemy movement. With the prowess, he caused him to be selected into the army by the British officer to help the British track down the enemy in the jungle. For the next point, what we can see is his greatness in using natural ingredients to be used as medicines. For example, he treated British officer with leg injuries using natural material found in the jungle. And Kanang can also detect enemies either at close range or far. After that, Kanang has a high motivation. He motivates his group to continue to fight to further enhance the spirit of defending the country. For the next point, Kanang also respect the ethic of war. For example, he forbids his group to fire at the enemy because they are innocent children. After that, Kanang also had a courageous attitude while fighting the communists. For example, he kept firing the communists even though he suffered several injuries. Finally, Kanang leadership strategy is to be responsible. What can be seen is that he bear the responsibility in defending the country from enemy threat. He also had a hard responsibility to take care of his group while fighting the communists. Besides that, he also had a hard responsibility when it comes to keep his family always in a safe state by asking the military to keep an eye on his family from enemy threat.
For the last part of this video, I will talk about the conclusion from Kanang, Anak, Langkau, the movie, which is to conclude, the generation is very fortunate to be able to enjoy independence from the hard work of a veteran fighter who fought hard to ensure that the country continues to be independent from domestic and foreign elements. The present generation should be grateful for the political and economic stability that allow them to live in a peace. A lot of lesson and teaching from Kanang, Anak, Langkau movie, like the loyal spirit of friend and a strong team. The attitude of mutual help between a member of this military is clearly seen. Kanang and other military personnel provide assistance to wounded military personnel in clash with communist terrorists in Operation Gerakan Setia 8179. Next, courage against enemy, especially communist terrorists. Members of this military are always eager to fight the enemy and put aside their own safety. For the example, Kanang and his friend were so brave when faced with the enemy despite having to sacrifice their life. Hopefully, we should not be afraid in our struggles for success, and we also should have a strong spirit of nationalism, brave and willing to sacrifice for the country and have a high spirit of struggle. As member of the military, we must improve our skill and professionalism in order to create a military community that is courageous, strong and efficient. Lastly, as a Malaysian, we must be responsibility and keep the peace of our country. Every Malaysian has self-discipline to train us to have a strong soul, orderly, and be able to live a more perfect life. That's all.